Well, this is a new opening for legal discovery, isn't it? Hey, that's fast. Well, there hasn't much been happening these last few days. It's only been since Thursday when you and I have spoken last. But I have heard from a few of you that said, what is this quizzling? What is quizzling? Is that a new game? Yes, it is a new game played by SBCA. SBCA has decided to brand some of you with a big letter Q. Yes, a Q is going to be stamped on your forehead one day because it stands for quizzling. Quizzling, see the Q? Is for a collaborator with the enemy. Now, I grant you that HBO and Showtime and Maycom and the federal government should not be our enemy. That we should collaborate with them easily. We should talk with them. They are our friends. But are they? What is this, all of a sudden, this great interest in putting so many dealers in jail and putting major corporations like Ecosphere in a questioning position? Do you think this is all done because this is the American way? This has become the corporate way in our country. Figured out new ways to intimidate, new ways to threaten you dealers, new ways to shut this industry down. And you folks out there that so gleefully and gladly call the SBCA hotline and turn in your fellow neighbor for stealing HBO, or your local dealer because he has to deal in chips to stay alive, you should have a big Q stamped on your forehead. You should recognize the fact that they are indeed the enemy right now. That all this industry is trying to do is stay alive. Alive. We cannot stay alive without piracy. It's already been figured out that 70% of this industry is pirating its signal. Well, if we don't have 70% of it, if all of a sudden piracy stops tomorrow and 70% of the business goes away, and think about this for a minute, Mr. Manufacturer, that's 70% total. That's probably 85% of all new sales. All new sales is probably 85% is being compromised. If you lost 85% of your business, would you be in business today? Well, I believe that's what the SPCA and GI hope would happen. I think they would have loved to shut this thing down so they could shut this industry down. Why is it that they won't take a position on third-party packaging, the SPCA? That was the milestone. That was the basis for our industry. To get us to survive is to get third-party packaging, and they won't take up a stance with it. They won't have their people write in about it. They just say they support 889, but they don't. They are neutral on third-party packaging. Third-party packaging is the only way this industry is going to stay alive, with the exception of piracy. That's the fact of life. Now, we can stop stealing, you and I. We can stop paying for programming because we can get it priced fairly. We can get it priced fairly if we get third-party packaging. It's the only way we're going to get it priced fairly. And the only way we're going to do any of that is to pass 889. Remember, someday they might figure out a way to shut your HBO off or your Showtime off. They might figure out a way to stop the piracy. And when that happens, what is your satellite system going to be worth to you? Is it worth a single letter or a telephone call to your congressman? Because that's all it's going to take to keep your satellite system alive, is to call or to write. But just because you're stealing that signal today doesn't mean you're going to keep on being able to do it. So, for those of you that want to collaborate, your name is Mr. Quizzler. It's actually Quizzling. But what the hell. You get a big Q. It's like a big A. Stay tuned. Well, first thing I want to tell you is, don't call us to ask us where your New Testament Bible is. I don't know where mine is. Mine was here someplace. Well, this is what it looks like. You'll be receiving it shortly in the mail. They're going out slowly because they've just started dubbing. Why did it take so long? That's a real good question. We had a lot of people working on this tape. We wanted to make it the most up-to-date and the most current, and indeed it is. One of the problems we had was working with some of these new seed key dumpers and trying to make them really perform. Well, I don't know whether you're having trouble out there, but we have tested the two that are on the market, the one from CTS and the one from John's Electronics. They're both at $6.95. And I'm not going to say which one I think is the best right now, but I can tell you we did have trouble. They're not real easy to operate sometimes, but they do indeed work. So that's why this Bible tape took so long to get out, to try to make sure that with a product we were telling you about actually performed. Now, I truly believe that every dealer, and I don't say this because I have any vested interest in these guys, I don't. I say it because I do believe it. You must record your customer's seed keys. If you're going to clone a box, I don't care who you are, if you're not recording that person's seed keys before you clone that box off, you're hurting that customer. Because one day, the price may be right, and that customer may indeed want to pay for programming, and in order for him to do it, he's going to have to go out and spend $400 for a new decoder because you dumped his seed keys. Now, it's not right to do the customer. For a $695 investment for a seed key dumper, you can't spend $695 to save that customer's seed keys so that he has the right to decide whether or not he wants to pay for programming or stealing it. The customer should have the right to pay for programming, and you shouldn't take it away from him. And all you got to do is get a seed key dumper. Record the seed keys. So that, again, programming may be one day priced fairly, or maybe the customer may think differently about it and decide that he wants to pay for his programming, that the $800 he potentially may have to pay right now for all the programming up there, maybe he gets rich, maybe he hits the lottery and decides he wants to pay the $800. I don't know. But the point is, he can't do it unless he goes out and buys a whole new decoder to get seed keys. So, be patient. If you do not know how to use a computer, and you do not know how to work with epoxy, and you do not know how to work with the VC2 board, but you do decide that you want to do your own altering of the video cipher because of the things that are happening out there, and you're concerned about people being compromised to saying things you wish they wouldn't say, and you decide you want to do your own thing, then you're going to have to learn a computer, you're going to have to learn how to work with epoxy, and you're going to have to learn how to cheat. You can get away from all of it. Don't sell decoders. There are a lot of dealers out there that don't. A few of them have got thousands of installations in the ground and have sold very few decoders. So you can do it. Or, of course, you can still write your congressman and try to get him to pass the bill. All right, what else is happening? That vCipher technology course. He has now reworked the course to make it so that those of you that that know a great deal and only need to know a little bit more can have a little bit, pay a little bit less for the course. Those of you that don't want to attend and go up to Canada, you can pay less. We'll run that commercial, and it is a commercial. The reason is that there are people that go to that course that are outside this country. They are from Mexico. They are from Canada. This course is legal in those countries. This course is legal if you go to it from the U.S. It becomes illegal when you return to the U.S. and you implement what you've learned from this course, because this course teaches you how to steal. Not everything, a portion of it. This course also teaches you how to repair video ciphers and shows you some of the more common ailments of video cipher. Well, frankly, so does the VC Bible tape, too. Think of it. But the VC Bible tape is not going to save the $4,000 you have to spend for the course, though, I must say. But here's the commercial, and we'll let Reggie explain a little bit further about it, and we'll come back and talk to you again.
Satellite dealers and VC2 resellers. Are you sending out your video cipher boxes to be fixed by others? Are you leaving a UPS or FedEx trail directly to your door? Think about it. And if you do, you should worry. Or you can worry no more. Become integrated like an IRD. Make all the profit and leave no trails. vCipher Technology offers a package that makes you fully independent and self-reliant. And never, ever have your VC2s turned off again. We guarantee it. vCipher Technologies offers the video cipher technician, and even a non-technical person, the most complete package for repairs, cloning, and modifying video cipher ever offered. The package includes a chip disk with over 25 programs for cloning, utilities, and pay-per-view run chips, including the famous Doomsday chipset, which cannot be turned off. It operates on all old and new boards and gets SpaceNet 223, the previously unobtainable Telstar channel. The package includes full software tools such as disassemblers and simulators and full documentation. Full video cipher schematics, parts lists, and a complete description of how the VC2 works, plus secret inside information on the video cipher module itself. It includes a high-quality EEPROM burner which programs the appropriate EEPROMs in about 15 seconds. It includes a tube of 28-pin sockets and software on EEPROMs included. 2 sets of 0181 keys and 1 set of 0180 keys are included and are guaranteed to run for 1 year or they're replaced free of charge. You get several commented listings of the various U30 and U7 programs in the video cipher and a helpful tricks list on how to display on-screen messages and crack many of the video cipher chips. Full detailed instructions on how to remove epoxy for replacing U30 and a full day of actual training of all aspects of the video cipher with...
Well, there's that cost, and a lot of you have gone up for it, and it seemed to be, some of you have actually called me and told me that you appreciate us telling you about it because you'll learn a great deal. Well, good. Remember, if you implement the things that you've learned from that course, you are breaking the law. Now, we're going to have a quick clip, I think. No, we're not. Here we are. We got a quick clip of Lee Hadlock explaining the wizard technology, because you people keep on asking about the wizard technology, and some of you still think it's a clone. Some of you think it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. It does work the way it's supposed to. Now, we'll show you this. Well, we don't have time for Lee. So there's a keyboard wizard. What it does, you don't care about seed keys, you don't care about ID. All it wants to do is get a working key, and you put the working key in from the front keypad. It's very popular outside the country because those people outside the country can't get authorized and can't turn their video cipher on the normal way. So it has become a very popular item for those people in Mexico and in Canada. If you use the key wizard inside the United States, you are breaking the law. It is against the law to use that product in the U.S. And just don't make any mistake about it. They come and they look at your box and you have one of those installed, you are going to be getting a fine and possibly some imprisonment of a week or two. Because I say that because there was one dealer that was supposedly busted. He got 2 weeks in jail and $25 fine. He could have gotten a $50,000 fine. He ended up with $25. I guess some courts do not think it's bad if you steal watching movies. You know, think about this. That's what all this is. All this is about watching. Can you believe the FBI is knocking doors down? The customs spending millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars because people are watching movies. It's pretty weird. It shows you the power of corporations in this country. Well, and how much they want our business. That's all I have, except the wire decoder is coming. You will not believe it. It's a really neat product, and I believe we're going to see a lot of pay-per-view. So you want to stay tuned. The wire decoder is only $89. If you want the pay-per-view feature, it is another $52. And there are some great pay-per-view specials coming up. One in particular in the middle of May, or two in particular in the middle of May, is a VSAT seminar with business television, which is 1 day, and also a SMA TV, which is 1 day. Each are $100 each, or $200 for both. And if you don't have the wire decoder, it is $89. Now, the wire decoder, when you buy for $89, or you're actually leasing it or renting it for 5 years at $89, you do get 1 year of Yellow Rain. And we will also get you 2 additional programs, which hopefully will end up equaling close to the $89 you pay for the damn thing. So we are working on getting you some really good programming for that. Before I leave, I want to put the numbers back up again for CTS and John's Electronics. Now, they're up there because I really do believe that every one of you dealers should have a seed key puller. It's a valuable tool, you should have it, and you should secure numbers. If just to archive your own customers' numbers so that if they get hit with lightning, if the box is turned off by GI because they decide they want to pull back all the 010 boxes and some of the 0181 boxes, you will have the numbers so you can reload them. It's just a security apparatus. It's an apparatus that every dealer should own because it's a tool, and it's a useful tool. And we want to thank you, and we want you to stay tuned for a green sheet. It is following this program. And of course, Boresight will be on Thursday night. I believe they're staying there. They might be moving, actually. We hear some talk recently. And Yellow Rain will be back on Thursday night. We might be moving it over to 11:45 because of some contractual agreements with the people at Boresight. So that might be moved on Thursday night to 11:45. Thank you, and stay tuned for Green Sheet, and good night.
Hi, I'm Karen Howes. This is Boresight News. We also have tonight Michael Ventriella, who is on Boresight every week, along with me and other Boresight reporters. We bring you news on the home dish industry. If you want information on packaging, programming, scrambling, what's going on the Hill, we have it here on Boresight. Tonight what we have is a few feature reports, one from Michael Ventriella. He's going to take a look at the cable hearings. Those were held in the House 2 weeks ago, and he's going to be bringing you a report on that. Also tonight we'll take a look at TV news, the future of it, what it will bring, and where the home dish owner sits in that arena. And a report on what happened on Sunday night when Senator Gore went out to the home dish industry. He's been supporting this industry for years with his legislation since 1986 to support the home dish consumer. This time he went out to you to ask for a little support in his presidential campaign, and it was a success. He got some of it. He got a lot of it, and we'll be bringing you that information in tonight's news, along with other news, so stay with us. We'll be back with the rest of the Boresight game just a minute.
Announcing a special deal on Satellite TV Preview, a complete weekly satellite TV guide. Just mail us the cover of the guide you presently receive, and we'll give you a special deal of just $36 for a full year of Satellite TV Preview. That's $10 off the regular subscription price for Satellite TV Preview, a great guide. And all you have to do is send us a cover, and we'll send you Satellite TV Preview, the most complete weekly satellite TV guide. To get this special deal, just send your present guide cover with a $36 check or money order to 262 Old New Brunswick Road, Piscataway, New Jersey, 08854. Visa MasterCard orders call 800-876-6121. Call today to save $10.
Having your home wired for cable seems innocent enough, until you realize that you've given up control of your television set to an unregulated monopoly. Your local satellite dealer offers the alternative that can free you from the crushing grip of cable and allow you to regain control of your television set. A home satellite system. Support your local satellite dealer, the unsung hero of the video communications industry.
Good evening. I'm Mike Ventriello. Despite what the industry rumor mill is saying, Ecosphere President Charlie Ergen was not arraigned this past Friday. He did, however, have a preliminary meeting with the Assistant U.S. District Attorney regarding the U.S. Customs investigation of possible export violations involving video cipher technology. Mr. Ergen did acknowledge that some 9,000 VC2 modules were confiscated from Ecosphere's Miami, Florida location, but it must be noted that so far no criminal charges have been filed against Mr. Ergen or Ecosphere, and that there have been no findings of piracy. Mr. Ergen told Boresight that the seized VC2 boards were not being exported as reported, but had just been imported from GI's manufacturing plant in Puerto Rico. Ergen also said his next move will be to go before the magistrate and try to get his 9,000 VC2 boards returned to him. This past Sunday, Senator Albert Gore held a fundraiser via satellite. Was it successful? Karen has the details.
Candidate Albert Gore relayed his support to the home dish owner and asked for some in return. In an uplink transmitted via SpaceNet 2 on Sunday, Gore had this to say.
There is no single group of potential voters anywhere in this country who are better informed than the 2 million families who jumped into this communications revolution by buying a home Earth station. For nearly 5 years, I have been fighting hard for backyard dish owners throughout America, particularly rural America. And I've been fighting against some of the most powerful entrenched interests in this country.
Gore had hoped the feed would be a live one, but a last-minute call to meet with New York Governor Mario Cuomo meant that dish owners had to see a taped version. But still, the enthusiasm was strong, and the industry rallied together to support that man that has been fighting for the rights of home dish consumers. Fred Finn told Boresight that the Sunday night program probably raised $20,000 in private donations, and that doesn't include the sponsorships contributed by nearly a dozen industry people in the amount of $1,000 each. Netlink is still in negotiations with ABC and CBS, hoping that those two networks will give them permission to resell an affiliate feed to dish owners. NBC has already given the okay, but ABC and CBS appear to be dragging their heels. The stall hasn't hurt Netlink. The 3 Denver-based stations are available to dish owners who live in white areas. That is, to dish owners who cannot get network signals from off-air or cable television. Now, previously, Netlink announced a deal with Ecosphere to give the #1 TVRO distributor the rights to resell Netlink's offerings to dealers and home dish owners. President of Netlink, Brian McCulley, is optimistic about that arrangement. He says, "We think highly of Ecosphere." Regarding Ecosphere's recent run-in with U.S. Customs regarding the export of the video cipher, McCulley told Boresight that he believes all men are innocent until proven guilty. After all, he said, that is the way we do it in America. Mike?
Thanks, Karen. The Motion Picture Association of America says it's assisted the FBI in the arrest of 5 Brooklyn, New York residents on charges of copyright infringement and conspiracy. It's suspected that the 5 charged in the complaint worked together to supply counterfeit video cassettes to at least 20 different video stores in Brooklyn and Queens. Among the 1,000 video cassettes seized were bootleg copies of Beverly Hills Cop 2, The Living Daylights, RoboCop, and La Bamba. MPAA officials believe as many as tens of thousands of pirated tapes were distributed by the 5 suspects. When we return, a feature on Senator Gore's bill S-889. You may want to set up your VCR to record the feature and then later send it to your senator, congressman, and local media. We will have that immediately after these words. Stay tuned.
Dealers, this could be your commercial.
Now is the time to step up to satellite. A home satellite system provides more programming than you ever imagined, and it costs much less than you might think. A satellite system gives you access to literally every programming service in the United States, including 13 all sports and 10 full-time movie channels and nearly 100 other services. Even news before the networks get it. No other type of television even comes close. Don't settle for a limited choice when you can have the wide world of satellite TV in your own backyard. Over the past 2 years, home satellite systems have improved and simplified dramatically, while prices have dropped between 30 and 50%. Do yourself and your family a favor today and talk to your satellite dealer. The time is right, and so is the price.
This commercial will be customized for your satellite dealership with your address, your phone number, and information about special deals or promotions you are offering. Contact Network Productions Video Services Department at 201-562-0080 for information about this and other satellite television commercials. Remember, a television commercial is the most effective way to increase your sales. Contact Network Productions Video Services today at 201-562-0080.
Well, you know, the rural citizen has really been a second-class citizen as far as information goes. It's difficult to understand that if you haven't been in it yourself. In fact, a lot of farmers don't realize they've actually are being cheated.
John O'Neill is the director of Agrisat, a company involved in providing agricultural programming to farmers via satellite. O'Neill knows that farmers, like other rural Americans, depend on the home satellite dish as their primary source of information. While Agrisat strives to provide more usable information for the rural dish owner, there are market forces in play that are counteracting these efforts by drying up the well of television programming available via satellite, thus cheating the rural American. The problem of shrinking program availability is not well publicized outside of the satellite industry. With most of America's population living in urban areas served by several network affiliates, and with cable television now serving 50% of America's TV audience, most people are not aware of the program crunch created by a marketplace gone amok thanks to cable deregulation and the reluctance of cable to deal fairly with the home dish market. Many have a hard time believing such a situation can exist in America. Senator Albert Gore of Tennessee was skeptical at first, but upon further investigation, the presidential hopeful began work on Senate Bill S-889, the Satellite Television Fair Marketing Act of 1987.
A dealer in Tennessee came to visit me and told me about what was going on. I could scarcely believe it. And I looked with my own eyes and listened with my own ears and talked with people out in the country. And I found out that what they were telling me was the truth, that a terrible injustice was being done. And you know that's the case.
Speaking before a satellite dealer seminar this past September, Gore knew that most of those in attendance had first-hand experience with the conditions in the home dish marketplace. But he took the time to explain the issue to the mainstream press, who were there to cover his presidential campaign, not his sponsorship of S-889.
You've got a dish like this one here, and thousands of them around this country. That's one technology. Cable television is another technology. Now, the cable television companies, particularly the large multi-system operators, see the technology of satellite dishes as a threat to their future. They serve the areas that have a dense population, but they have a franchise on larger areas. They haven't been willing to make the investment to go out and serve those areas yet. And those areas and farther out in the country, that's where the satellite dishes are being purchased. And they don't really like that because they see competition. They don't like it. Well, the people who buy satellite dishes watch these programs. And the premium programs are the ones that are the most popular. The cable television companies happen to own most of the premium programmers. And the others rely on the cable television industry for about 95% of the money that they make each year. And so one industry, in competition with another, has a stranglehold over the source of raw material, the programs, for their competition. It's just that simple. It's not that complicated, really.
It's not that complicated to see that the cable industry is in a position of power, influence, and control. What is complicated is how to loosen cable's grip on the marketplace and provide an even playing field for the home dish industry or any other alternative TV delivery system that may develop. The common denominator is availability of programming at fair market prices. One of the provisions of S889 is to open the market to third-party program distribution. In other words, allow companies other than cable operators to buy programming at a wholesale price and in turn sell it to the home dish owner. During the July 31st Senate hearing on S889, Bob Phillips, CEO of the National Rural Telecommunications Cooperative, stressed the importance of third-party packaging.
At this juncture, however, I'd like to make it clear that certain programmers have no intention of selling their product through NRTC. Therefore, access to quality programming is a key issue in this marketplace. As an example, I would cite both HBO and Showtime, which have advised us that they will not license the sale of their programming to NRTC as they do for cable companies. They have both ignored written offers from us for pre-buys of subscriptions of $1 million each. Furthermore, it's noteworthy that Showtime boastfully advised us last week that they have exclusive rights to distribute MTV and VH1 to the TVRO market, and they're not available to us.
Because some industry projections state that 30 million U.S. homes will never be served by cable due to their remote location, and because, in the words of Mr. Phillips, the home satellite dish is more than an enhancement to the quality of life in rural America, because this is the information age where the use of high technology and access to information will separate the winners and losers in the 21st century. The NRTC is trying to provide satellite TV programming through rural electric cooperatives in an effort to keep rural Americans in touch with the rest of the world at a reasonable price. Mr. Phillips testified that many cable program suppliers are not eager to negotiate third-party distribution unless the terms include exorbitant wholesale prices for non-cable distributors.
We see no reason to discriminate against a TVRO subscriber because he receives a signal via satellite rather than through a cable line. However, some of the contracts that we have entered exceed the cable wholesale price by as much as 500 to 700% and more. We absolutely see no justification for this tremendous price differential.
Even a large company such as the Amway Corporation is having trouble acquiring third-party distribution rights. The fact that Amway is a $1.3 billion a year company with 750,000 sales reps does not seem to impress cable programmers. During the July Senate hearings, Amway Vice President of Policy Administration and Corporate Development, Chet Grahusky, explained the good, the bad, and the ugly of dealing with cable programmers.
The good is that we are the first non-cable distributor of programming to dish owners. The bad is that we have only one channel and have been unable to obtain contracts from cable programmers. The ugly is that the pernicious boycott of non-cable distribution continues. The really ugly is that thousands of U.S. jobs have been lost because of these refusals to deal, and millions of American homes may never get the benefit of direct satellite reception.
The decision of cable programmers to scramble their signals in 1986 without perfecting a plan for fair distribution to the home dish market caused an upheaval that almost destroyed the fledgling industry. The home dish industry's loss was the cable industry's gain. Here's why. Before scrambling, the home dish industry had sold 1.5 million units. Close to 500,000 of those systems were sold in cable franchise areas, giving the home dish industry 30% penetration into the cable market. Those 500,000 dishes posed a threat to cable, not only as competition, but because a cable system's market value is based on the amount of subscribers it has, rather than the value of its equipment, etc. For example, in 1986, each cable subscriber was considered a $1,000 asset. So 500,000 potential cable subscribers becoming home dish owners was considered a $1 billion loss. If the home dish industry continued to grow at its one-time 100% a year rate without interference, there could very possibly be over 5 million dishes in place today. Many of those dishes would be within cable franchise areas, thus cutting into cable subscriber base. Scrambling was one way cable could limit the spread of home dishes and increase its $1,000 a head subscriber list. Not satisfied with the disruption caused by scrambling, the cable industry launched a massive negative ad campaign warning potential dish buyers that the skies were going dark and that satellite dishes would become little more than expensive bird baths. This ad campaign only lasted a couple of months, but the damage was done. Home dish sales took an 80% nosedive, and 60% of the satellite-related business went belly up. The home dish industry was close to death, and to this day hasn't recovered. Cable, on the other hand, is very healthy. In the 2 years since scrambling, cable has achieved 50% penetration into America's households, which translates into 45 million people. Cable operators can now claim each subscriber as a $2,000 asset. The cable industry made $11.4 billion in revenue in 1987. As you can see, the home dish industry's loss was cable's gain. S889 co-sponsor Senator Dale Bumpers gave a first-hand account of the conditions in his home state of Arkansas, which is the home of close to 35,000 home dishes.
In my state, we were, I don't know that we are anymore, but in my state, we were the biggest manufacturer of dishes of any state in the nation. We had 22 manufacturers when I appeared here a year ago, Mr. Chairman. Today we have 7 or 8, and they're just barely hanging on.
Supporters of the Satellite Television Fair Marketing Act of 1987 say the bill is urgently needed to revive the once robust, now anemic home dish industry.
The passage of the legislation will revive the satellite dish industry. Millions of rural Americans will know that they can safely invest their hard-earned dollars in satellite dish equipment and enjoy the same programming as their urban counterparts.
One group supporting S889 is the National Farmers Union. Although they weren't represented at the July 31st hearings, NFU Director of Washington Operations Robert A. Denman did have a letter of support entered into the hearing record of the Senate Subcommittee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation. That letter, addressed to Subcommittee Chairman Daniel Inouye of Hawaii, said, "Today's satellite communications situation can be improved through the Satellite Television Fair Marketing Act. With the advent of satellite programs scrambling, the number of services rural residents receive has declined significantly. During the past 2 years, 80% of satellite receiving equipment dealers and service outlets have gone out of business, a figure directly related to the advent of program scrambling and the absence of alternative program delivery systems. Rural residents appear to be waiting for positive action on this front before making additional costly investments in equipment or repair." Senator Gore believes the farmer satellite dish connection is a presidential campaign issue.
I know a lot about the farming communities that are the backbone of this country. And I know about the issues that are facing agricultural areas and facing the entire country in this election. And I know about the challenges that people in rural areas face. And this satellite issue is one that is predominantly a rural issue.
Has there been a conscious effort on the part of the cable industry to stymie the home dish market? Can S889 correct the situation? Chet Grahusky of Amway had this to say.
Congress needs to mandate non-cable distribution of programming. It also needs to require non-discriminatory wholesale pricing. The wholesale prices being quoted to us for home dish distribution are often 10 times higher than what cable pays. They are trying to force us to charge dish owners the cable retail price in order to maintain their cable monopolies.
David Walford, CEO of Comtech Publishing and potential third-party distributor, seems to think collusion among cable programmers and systems operators is responsible for the unfair program marketing for the satellite TV viewer.
And either they've all had the same electric therapy shock treatment, or they've gotten together because they're all telling the same story. And cable is bound and determined to control both the wired world and the wireless world to the detriment of the consumer at large.
The bottom line is that it's the consumer who gets hurt ultimately by being forced to pay higher prices than his or her cable counterpart, or by being led to believe that there is no alternative to cable television or poor over-the-air reception. Whether they live in rural or urban areas, consumers want a real choice in how they watch television and how much they pay for it. More and more consumers have been speaking loudly in support of S889.
Senators, we are weary, we are angry, we are broke. We have been called pirates, crooks, and thieves. We have even been arrogantly informed by a congressional aide that